This is Stacy Marshall with Printwear Magazine.
Matt Vassallo with the RhinstoneWorld.com.
Richard Greaves with ScreenMaking.com.
Brian Walker with RTP Apparel.
You are listening to the Two Regular Guys
Podcast.
Hosted by
Terry Combs.
Terry Combs.
Terry Combs.
And
Aaron Montgomery.
Aaron Montgomery.
Aaron Montgomery.
Keep on listening.
I don't know if these guys are that regular.
All right. Well, welcome to the show. It's Friday, October 18th, 2019. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me at aaronmontgomery.info. Today, Terry, and now that we're doing video, we can't lie about the fact that we're not wearing tuxedos, but
that's right.
That's just for the announcements, though. Maybe this year we got to make that happen. We'll figure out how to get into the budget to rent some tuxedos.
As I mentioned before, Aaron, I never returned the one that from your wedding. So
there we go.
Are they still billing you for that?
Possibly. That's what that random bill is every. Anyways, we're going to be announcing the nominations for the REGGIEs today, but stay tuned. So that'll be the first part, and that's always exciting. We love talking about that. We're going to talk about last year's winners and all that kind of fun stuff. So it always makes for a good show, but we're going to do a little bonus stuff. Terry, we are going to ask you, what does the future of screen printing hold? And you're uniquely situated to kind of answer that question. I mean, you've been a screen printer, an instructor, kind of an advocate for screen printing. I don't know. I don't want to date you here, Terry, but it may be, 40 years.
40 years, yeah. Exactly.
40 years. 40 years.
I can't believe it either.
I know. You don't look a day over anyhow. But that, like I said, that puts you in a really unique place because you're also very actively involved in the direct-to-garment world through your role as, I don't know what your official role is, but I call you a sales dog at Equipment Zone there. So, that puts you in a really unique space to answer that question.
Well, Aaron, and it's a question that comes up more and more. What's the future of screen printing in this digital world? So we're going to. I've given a lot of thought to it, and we're gonna have a little chat about it after the announcements.
Excellent. Well, that's great, and we've got some regulators checking in already this morning. So Sandy checking in, the inventor of regulators, Christine Shreve checking in. So, and then as usual, we have the amazing Eric Campbell in the comment section for us here today. So thank you very much, Eric. And here we go. We've got Dot Tone Dan. I always love having Dan along for the ride. And when we talk screen printing later today, that is going to be a good part of it. So one other thing, and I didn't tell you about this, Terry, but I am trying something fun, new, exciting. We're multicasting today. And right now it's just going to my own personal YouTube page because I got to figure out some things. But we may start multicasting to both YouTube and Facebook at the same time. Pretty slick.
I feel like a superhero.
So Curtis is actually checking in from the YouTube channel here today.
Oh, very good.
Curtis, thanks for joining us. And Cindy King, who has been on the show and is a regulator as well. So good morning, everybody. We will, I'll get stuck doing that for a long time, Terry. So how about we cover some news and get into this here?
Very good. Let's do it. What do you have?
Okay. Well, first, our friends over at Anchor Bookkeeping, Emil, when he was on, and Terry, you were out, and I actually had my wife guest host that program with me. Right. They had such good response from that they wanted to kind of give back to the regulators. So they're offering our regulators a 20% discount if you sign up over at anchorbookkeeping.com. And see if I can get the code up on screen here too. But if you use this code, 2REGGUYS20, that will get you 20% off over there at anchorbookkeeping.com. So again, just great response to that program and to Emil's information. And I think it's a great service to help those small businesses out there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Aaron, I have a kind of an interesting announcement. Alpha Broder said late yesterday, that it has completely recovered from a cyber attack it suffered earlier in the week. Out of suburban Philadelphia, the firm said in an initial statement issued Monday that it was struck by a strand of ransomware. The attack focused on Alpha Broder's order processing and shipping platform. After days of disruptive service and collaboration between Alpha Broder's in-house cyber team and expert forensics outside company. The supplier said that all orders and shipping methods are up and running at 100% as of Thursday afternoon. And the quote is, "We will have a backlog on FedEx and UPS orders, and we will work through this over the next few days." So, if a lot of decorators, myself included, would place an order assuming that I would be getting it the next day or the day after. So I'm sure that that's been disruptive, not only for Alpha Broder, but for a lot of folks out there that who purchased from them, and they have quite a list of decorators that buy from them. So good on them for getting ahead of that. But gosh, it's frightening,
Yeah, it is frightening. And honestly, we're seeing more and more of that in our space, so make sure that, you're safe out there and you have all the right things and get the right people to help you with that stuff. It's not on the news list, but I saw something about Cafe Press is just taking a pounding on their data breach that happened. And in fact, there's some lawsuits going to be happening there. So poor Cafe Press is, I don't know if to say poor, but hey, they're taking a bit of a beating. A very large company in the space that I'm involved with in sublimation, Colorado Timberline, went out of business and pointed towards a ransomware attack that happened, and they shuttered the doors after that. Now, that's what the front-facing statement was that is why they closed down. There's certainly a lot of rumors that I will not be spreading, at least publicly. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's something to think about and to be aware of, that you need to kind of stay out in front of those things. So I had one more news item then, Terry, before we get into the whole thing here. But Trotec Laser has acquired Engravers Network. So effective immediately, the acquisition gives the laser manufacturer opportunities to extend its market reach and broaden the services and support for new and existing customers, according to a press release. So we'll have a link to that press release in the show notes, and Eric will be oh man, he's even look at this guy. He's all over the place. He's got links to the Cafe Press story, and man, he is on top of it. As usual.
A lot of people don't realize that how much work is involved in being the producer for the show. And you and I were talking before we went on the air, and you said, "Oh, I'm going to have to make sure that Eric copies this and has it and posts it, that's something actually different." And as we were talking, we could see his cursor going before he even heard us copying it. So, so good job, Eric.
Good job, Eric. We should give him a raise, Terry.
We should triple. Eric, what you're getting now? Triple.
Woohoo, man. All right, good stuff.
It is a great economy.
The economy is booming. All right,
that's right. Three beers next time we see you.
Yeah, 3 beers. It's science, Eric. It's science.
It's science. Yeah. All right. Well, Aaron, before we dive in, we want to thank all of the Two Regular Guys podcast listeners, the regulators. If you are listening to the podcast version, we would appreciate it if you would share with your friends so that they can become regulators too. Plus, if you would give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you're listening to the podcast, we would greatly appreciate it. And we are also looking for guests on the show. If you or anyone you know wants to join us, go to Calendly.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, Eric will put it up. Yeah. Calendly.com/2 regular guys. And if you are joining us on the live feed via Facebook, we'd love to have interaction with you and want to hear your comments and questions on the discussion. And give us a shout out to let folks know you are tuned in, and looking forward to talking and having some interaction with folks when we're talking about screen printing and the digital world, whether you are a screen printer or you're a digital decorator. We would like to have your comments.
Yeah.
So in that said, Aaron, let's hear a word from our new sponsor, Impressions Expo.
What is Impressions Expo? Impressions Expo, formerly ISS, is the premier trade show dedicated to the imprinted and decorated apparel industry. 5 shows are produced annually in each region of the U.S., including Long Beach, California, Atlantic City, New Jersey, Orlando, Florida, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Fort Worth, Texas. Each of the 5 annual shows also features over 30 seminars, and hands-on workshops in categories such as screen printing, embroidery, digitizing, digital decorating, and much more. Visit impressionsexpo.com for more details and see us at the shows in 2020. Exclusively for Two Regular Guys listeners, the Regulators. Use the promo code REGULARGUYS, IE. Again, that is Regular Guys, IE, for a free Expo Pass.
All right. Well, thanks again to Impressions Expo, and thanks for including me in that video. I don't know if you saw me, Aaron, but
look at you, sales dogging it right there.
All right. I have to tell you, we're getting our name badges ready for Printing United, formerly SGIA, and somebody was bringing them into Harry Oster's office, and we were having a video check because that's the way people do business today. You don't have to be there. and she goes, "Hey, look!" And she held up my name badge, and I finally got my request. It says Terry Combs, sales dog. so look for that when you're walking around the show next week. For anybody going to the former SGIA show, Printing United, and come by and say hello. And by the way, Aaron, I wanted to mention, we're going to be updating our intro. We have people from the industry. Anybody that's heard the intro, here's a lot of different folks from the industry, and I'm going to have my digital recorder with me. So if you want to be a part of the intro, come by, and it's a 2-sentence card you read, and you can be a part of the intro for the next year.
Excellent. Yeah, that'll be good. And one other thing we forgot to mention in the news section, and thank you, Christine. There was a fantastic article in Printwear Magazine about the Women in the Industry podcast and group that came from it. So, and we did get a nice mention, and we really appreciate that, Christine, being didn't call us grandfathers. Godfathers, I'm fine with. Grandfathers, I'm not ready for that yet. I know you're a grandfather, Terry.
I am 4 times.
You are, man. All right, good stuff. But so yes, check that out, Christine. If you can post a link to that, we'll get that up here too. So
that's awesome.
We'll add that in the show notes.
I didn't realize that was there. I hadn't seen it, so that's interesting news.
Well, Terry, I'll send it to you as well, and you can read it too. So Cindy says we're supposed to be there at the Printing United show, so she will look for you. So and there we go. Oh, Eric's already on it. He's got it here. So here's the link to that article that was mentioned from Christine there. So good stuff. And then I don't know what it is about that music that they have with that video for Impressions Expo there, but man, it really gets me moving. So I'm glad I covered the screen because I'm dancing the whole time. All right, Terry. Well, let's dive into this. It's Reggie time. If we had a
Reggie time,
I would play it, but I don't have that on the queued up yet. But
Eric's probably looking for one right now.
I know it's probably not the end miraculously, but anyhow, Terry, why don't you start us off? What's the first category this year?
Yeah, the Two Regular Guys Awards, 7th annual Two Regular Guys Awards. Who knew, Aaron, when we started this, how big it would get? And
yeah. You know what? Actually, before we get to the first category, though, I should have read the outline, Terry. You had it all laid out there.
I typed it all in there, man.
I know. So, talk to us first about kind of for those of you that aren't familiar with the Reggies, and I'm guessing most of you are. So just a real brief kind of, what is it? Why is it? What are the rules? How does it work? Well, millions of dollars in prizes, all that kind of
stuff. Right. There's a lot of satisfaction involved in it. But the Reggie Awards are the Two Regular Guy Awards, and the only awards that we're aware of in the industry that are first nominated by the industry and then voted on by the industry. All we do, Aaron, is facilitate this. We don't we get one vote just like everybody else, and we just thought it was, 7 years ago, thought, there needs to be something where people can be recognized in the industry for what they do, and had no idea how it would explode. The awards show is one of our most listened to shows every year. Mm-hmm. We'll walk into trade shows and we'll see somebody's Reggie Award on display at the show, and especially ones for customer service and that sort of thing. So, it's going to be a link where you can go and make nominations. And what we do is we'll take the top, usually 5 nominees for every category based on how many times somebody's been nominated. So keep that in mind. And there are folks out there who are going to be publishing this information, different companies and different individuals. So if you want to not only be nominated, but to win an award, you have to get out there in social media and share a little bit with it, with the folks as well.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, the shameless self-promotion, we're all about it. Do that.
Heck yeah.
And, like you said, Terry, our job here is just to facilitate this. But here's the deal. At the end of the day, it's a community building opportunity. It's a way for people to recognize people that need recognition. It does become a little bit of a popularity contest, and that's totally okay. I mean, that's kind of half the fun, get out there, nominate yourself, nominate other people, recognize people. For us, it's been fantastic because there's been people that have been nominated that we weren't aware of. And as long as you and I have been doing this, that always still amazes me.
Yeah, me too.
And so we get an opportunity to connect with them and to, we've had them on the show after the fact and kind of just, again, it's all about that kind of community. So it's not this cutthroat, I mean, we've had some heated, down to the last couple of votes kind of thing. Right. But that's half the fun of it. Everybody was very humble in defeat and humble in winning. And it was perfect. So that's the way we want this to be. And so should it ever get out of hand, we may have to shut it down. But so far, 7 years running, it's been fantastic. It's been a lot of fun. And so that's what we want to continue to have here. So,
and Aaron, it gets very competitive, but I don't believe there's ever been any winner in any category that wasn't deserving of the award. So
absolutely,
that's the important thing to know.
Absolutely. And the cream does kind of rise to the top and some good stuff there. So Christine says it's important to recognize those who are contributing. The Reggie Awards means something because they show that people care about the industry and seek out those who are doing good and helping to lift the industry as a whole. And very, very well put. Again, Christine, our unofficial official writer for the Two Regular Guys, and always does a great job summarizing what we are trying to say here, Terry. So
absolutely.
Perfect. All right, Terry. Well, now I jumped the gun, but now let's go ahead and get this started off. So what's the first category, please?
The first category is Best New Product. And last year's winner, Aaron, was Embrilliance Stitch Artist 3D Foam Underlay. And they won with 48% of the vote. So that was a pretty substantial number, considering there were 5 nominees in this category. So any new product that you have experienced using, or maybe you have a new product that you want to nominate, let's get those nominations entered.
Yeah, there's been some fantastic winners in that category over the years. In fact, if I go back to and see if it pops up for me here, nope, that wasn't it. Maybe it was the year before. And the name has just escaped me, so I'm going to just pretend like I know what I'm talking about here for 1 second until it pops back up for me here. The gentleman had just passed away. Terry, help me out here. Screen print guy that everybody.
Oh, Joe Clark.
Thank you. One of his products won the award or was nominated. I can't remember, a few years back, and so those kinds of things. So that award is all about something that's kind of made an impact here in 2019. It doesn't necessarily have to be brand new this year. Maybe it's been around for a little while. In fact, I think the DTG, the F2100 won 1 year, and it had been out for about a year or so, but it really kind of made its impact that year. So that's what that category is all about there. So let me get to the second. Go ahead, Terry.
I was just going to say, Aaron, we didn't announce this. The form is up on our website, correct?
It is up on the website. Yep. So if you just head over to REGGIEs there, it should be right there. But we'll get it posted here in just a second as well, once I get to that. But let me get the second category, and then while you're doing the third category, I'll go find the form because it didn't show up where I thought it was going to. Okay. All right. So the second category is Best Sales or Customer Service Representative. And last year, the winner was Lisa Potts from the Rhinestone World with 43% of the votes. So again, very positive response for Lisa, and we got to have Lisa on one of our programs this last year with Christine in the Women in the Industry podcast. So that was great to get to meet her and talk to her a little bit more. And of course, the intrepid Eric Campbell has got the link up there for the nomination form for us. So thank you, Eric.
Awesome.
All right. Well, what about the third category here, Terry?
All right. The third category is the company that provides the best customer service. And last year, that was, again, in Brilliance with 47% of the vote. It was 818 votes to 807 votes, just edging out Rhinestone World, who is always competitive in all these categories. But that's how close it gets, folks. We were over 1,600 votes in just these two folks, and there were 3 other nominees as well. So there were quite a few votes in this category. But this is one that yes, you'll be walked by somebody's booth at a trade show, and they will have on display their Reggie Award for giving the best customer service. Because hey, what better way to say yes, we're going to take care of you than say we have award-winning customer service.
Yep, absolutely. And we always love that, and that always makes us stop when we're walking around the shows and come up to talk to you, right? So
exactly.
All right. So the fourth category, Terry, is the best online educational content, and the winner last year was the Rhinestone World's YouTube channel, and 68% of the votes was how they won there. So the Rhinestone World, as you said, always very competitive in these. In fact, the year that they didn't realize that the Reggies were happening and didn't put it out there, they put it out after things were closed, and I probably got 1,000 emails, and every single one of them was replied with the same thing. Hey, we just facilitate. Sorry, you guys missed it. Make sure to check us out in October next year. So, so they showed up.
They didn't miss it in 2018. That's for sure.
Yeah. So definitely. So that was number 4, Terry. So what about number 5?
Best industry educator. Speaking of the Rhinestone World, Matt Vassallo won that with 57% of the vote. And anybody who knows Matt Vassallo knows that he is a great educator. Matt came into the industry as a teacher. Mm-hmm. and
high school teacher,
right?
Which is really hard.
So, when he's doing his seminars at the shows, if you get up to leave, he goes, "Hey, you need a pass." No, he doesn't do it. But
walks around with a ruler too. It's weird.
Right. No, Matt's a great friend of the show and an awesome educator. I just love having him on the show, and I catch myself at trade shows if he's anywhere nearby, kind of listening in on his presentation, trying to pick up some presentation tips of my own.
Yeah, definitely. Good stuff there for Matt. Okay, so the 6th category, and Terry, just make sure you're looking at the outline there, because I did make a quick change. So we've got 9 instead of 10, remember? So, number 6 is the best industry trade show. And last year, DAX Chicago took home the win there with 45% of the vote. That was the first time that ISS Long Beach was unseated. So
right.
5 years in a row.
5 years in a row. Yeah.
Yep. 5 years, and then the 6th year was DAX Chicago. So 7th year, let's see what happens there. There's some great shows. We love the DAX shows. We also love the ISS shows, and so all fantastic shows. And again, that same kind of deal. They kind of fought it out, but everybody was really happy for everybody that won, and the recognition there. So again, it's that abundance mentality. We're all raising the tide, right? Is that how that goes?
Exactly right. And the thing about the now the Impressions Expo is in Long Beach. I think the one that's for so many years, because of the shows, NBM shows, Impressions Expo, DAX show. That show in Long Beach to kick off the year is really a national show as opposed to a regional show. All the other shows are fairly regional, but that's of course, I will be there. I go to all the shows. It makes me
say-
kind of sad to think about it.
I was gonna say you don't even have to. Basically, the easier list, Terry, would be for you to say which shows you're not going to, and that'd be
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
a half of one, like
Right.
you left early from one, maybe. So
Right. Sometime I do a rock start into the DAC shows. I'll get there
That's
the
right.
night before, do my seminars, and be heading to the airport by 4:00. So
yeah. All right. So what's number 7 there, Terry?
number 7, most influential young star. And I think we introduced this one this past year,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Last year was
Yeah.
the first time, and
Yeah.
it's for 40 and under. So
40 and
people
under,
40 and
so,
under.
yeah.
I just missed it.
Right. Last year, it was again Lisa Potts. She took home 2 awards last year. Lisa with the Rhinestone World, and she won that with 55% of the vote. And I'm excited about this category because it's so much fun to see new people entering the industry and young people entering the industry, and I'm sure that we will be seeing Lisa around the industry for many years to come.
Nice. Yep, definitely. And I'm excited to see who the nominees are going to be this year. And my goal will be to get every single one of them on our show. So
Yeah.
All right. So the 8th category is the best guest on the Two Regular Guys podcast. And that was an overwhelming win for Matt Vasallo of the Rhinestone World. As you can see, catching a theme here. He had 72% of the votes. And, the really interesting part about that win, too, was his show was actually early on in the year in January. So a lot of times, we've seen that category kind of people towards the end of the year on the show kind of get that, because top of mind kind of thing.
Right.
But, obviously Matt brings a big crew with him. So definitely don't ever want to get in a street fight with Matt.
Aaron, and something interesting about that show is I distinctly remember that show, and mainly because most of us, when we interview folks, it's just like we're doing right now. We're sitting in front of a camera and chatting. Well, Matt wasn't. Matt was standing with a camera on him, and he had all of his supplies around him, and he was grabbing this and grabbing that and showing it to the camera, and it was just it was a memorable show. So
for sure. And it's always interesting, as the Two Regular Guys podcast, podcast is the key term for us. And so we do capture this on video, as Terry just mentioned, but a bulk of our interactions, a bulk of the people that listen in are catching us on the podcast version. And but Matt's particular show, there was a lot of people that is like, oh, I need to get on and watch the video version of that.
Right.
See, and when you look at the analytics of that particular show, it's through the roof. So good stuff there. All right, Terry. Well, the last category that we have laid out here is the best ambassador for the industry. And my good friend Hollywood Joe Piazza with Caesar, not Sisser, as many people have mentioned, won that award last year for 45% of the votes. And we're not really sure if it's just because he's a really attractive guy, but he is a fantastic ambassador for the industry. I mean, the education that he does, the things that he does with the folks over at Caesar is great. He's a wonderful guy. And I keep telling him, because he's also an aspiring actor and has done some really good work, actually. In fact, he's got a new comedy coming out soon. In fact, I'll ping him about that and see if we can get that shared, because it's really cool to watch him act too. And I said, all right, just remember the little guys, remember the Two Regular Guys when you're famous, when you're holding up the
Academy
Award nomination there. What do they call the little guy though? Oscar. Thank you. When you're holding up your Oscar, just make sure you take up your Two Regular Guys Best Industry Ambassador plaque with you. This was my
because
first
they
award.
will be of equal value.
That's right. That's right. So good stuff there, Terry. The other part about the nominations and whatnot is there is a space at the bottom where you can create your own category, not necessarily create it for you. And again, we've got to at least have 5 people nominated there to do that. But we're happy to add categories where categories are needed. So remember that space, put something in there if you'd like. And, so if we get 5 people kind of doesn't have to be the exact same, but in that same ballpark, we can make a new category if we need. And then the other thing to note there, Terry, is that we also do. It'll be November 15th this year. We do a nomination show to announce the nominees, and we announce every single person. And we try to get some details about them so we can kind of share. So even if you don't actually make the last 5 list, everybody that's nominated will get announced and will be recognized. So, nominations in and of itself are a big deal as far as I'm concerned. I've been nominated before, and it just made me feel really, really good. So,
yeah, exactly
Terry,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is always an exciting thing anyway. And as we've mentioned, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger every year. So we'll be sharing out there on social media. Hopefully all the regulators will be sharing this as well, so that people know about the upcoming event. Maybe, not everybody listens to this show, Aaron. I know it's kind of a shocker, but
Yeah. My brain just fried right there, Terry. I cannot compute. So you know what? Todd actually already has a good category that we didn't even. I think we mentioned it last year, and I wrote it down somewhere in my scratch. But Todd says best Facebook group, wasn't that or something like that last year? We kind of, I think, almost rolled that into, but maybe separating that out might be worthwhile.
Yeah, I think we rolled it back into online education, as I recall.
Yeah, definitely. Well, hey,
and Aaron, the Young Star Award, that was a recommendation from regulators who wanted to recognize the young folks in the industry. So
yeah, okay, well. You know what? Like you said, Terry, it's our job to facilitate, and what the regulators want, the regulators get. So
that's right.
Category number 10. I will go fix that right after we're done here today. Category, well, we'll put it in there because we like having the ambassador be the last one. But a new category just announced: best Facebook group. There we go.
Very good. Awesome. All right, Aaron. Well, with that, let's take a break and hear a word from our sponsor, Ace Transfer.
Excellent. Yep. Let's do that right now.
Have you been looking to grow your business or start one in the garment decoration industry? After all, that's why you're listening, right? Ace Transfer Company is located in Springfield, Ohio, and we've provided our customers with high-quality transfers, competitive prices, and great customer service for nearly 30 years. Ace Transfer Company offers a wide variety of garment decoration services, including screen-printed transfers, contract screen printing, direct-to-garment or DTG, dye sublimation, signs, banners, heat transfer vinyl, pressure-sensitive vinyl, and more. Use your own designs or have our in-house artists assist you in creating eye-catching transfers. At Ace, we are dedicated to helping your business succeed, so print your vision at Ace. For more information, visit our website, acetransfercompany.com. Send us an email at acetransco@gmail.com. That's ACETRANSCO@gmail, or give us a call at 800-525-3126.
All right. Well, thanks to Ace Transfer. David at Ace Transfer has been a longtime supporter of the show, and very, very happy that they are now one of our sponsors.
Yeah, definitely. So real quick, Terry, before we get into the burning question, I'm going to put you on that hot seat, and we're going to find out what the future of screen printing holds. I want to get to a couple of other quick comments from the regulators here, and let's see here. So yeah, and talking about the Facebook group category that we've just officially added. Oh, that's a good one. Not just because I have a group that could be in contention this year. Nice.
The first self-promotion of
yeah, and Todd says me too, huh? And he was the suggester. Anyhow,
the second one, right?
Yeah. So but I just wanted to say good morning to Jesse. Always having Jesse check in. Morning to regular guys and the regulators. So and then oh, here we go. Todd says Old Guard Award. Would that Would we fall in that category?
That's us.
All right. We're not starting that one, Todd. But if there's enough write-in nominations, then we'll figure it out. But all right, good stuff. Hey there, Pilar. Thank you for joining us this morning. All right, Terry. Well, let's do this. Are you ready? You feel confident? You feel like you can answer this question?
I think I can start a conversation.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, so just start us off by just giving us the quick overview of today, right now, what the current relationship is between screen printing and digital printing, direct to garment or otherwise.
Well, Aaron, and I'm sure you recall this happening many times back 15 years ago. Yeah, many times. 15 years ago, Scott Fresner at trade shows and even at the screen printing classes, because, back in those days, that's where you went to learn how to screen print. You went to the U.S. Screen Printing Institute. Yep. And Scott would announce in the class, screen printing will be gone in 2 to 3 years. And I would walk in, because here's how class worked. It was Scott Fresner's class. Scott would introduce himself, hold up the How to Print T-shirts for Fun and Profits book, and then he would say, "And here's Terry, who's going to teach your class." and so before Scott could leave the room, I would say that is entirely incorrect. And he really believed it at the time. In fact, just a few years ago, he came up to me and he goes, "You were right all along. This is direct to garment printing is just going to be another avenue for screen printers." But as to the relationship, and here's something else that this is kind of what spurred my thoughts on digging into this is at the Denver NBM show, somebody came up to me from one of the manufacturers and said, "So what do you think? What's going to happen to screen printing?" And I thought, well, that's an interesting question to be asking me. You're a manufacturer of manual and automatic printing equipment. And then a week later in Fort Worth, someone from another manufacturer came up to me and said, "So what do you think, Terry? What's going to happen with screen printing with all this digital stuff going on?" And I thought, wow, this is a big question that people are struggling with. But here's where we are right now. Long run work is still going to be screen printing. It's that short-term customer, that customer who says, and I've said this on the show many times, why can't you do 3? Cafe Press can do 3. Zazzle can do 3. This company over here can do 3. And so, and I do have my finger on the pulse of it. I teach screen printing classes. I'm still heavily involved in screen printing, but I also do a lot of classes and seminars on direct to garment printing. And I talk to people who do or entering the direct to garment business every single day. So it's going to continue to be, in my opinion, that 2 parts to the process. It's going to be, screen printers will admit to you, I can do a full color print. I can do a photographic image on a T-shirt, and that's what I'm going to have up on the wall, in my shop. Yeah. But the person who's buying this product, they're going to be buying 1 and 2 and 3 color work, And don't make fun of me, Aaron. Jim's Towing Service, phone number on the back. That's the screen printing customer. Now, you also are going to have to deal with those folks who walk in and say, "Hey, I'm having a family reunion, 17 people. Little Susie's a 2.4 and Uncle Bob, he's a 4X, and I don't want to pay for extra screens." And that's the perfect customer that screen printer is going to say, "Hey, I want to I want to be able to service that customer too," because you don't want them going down the street, because that down the street, that person who's got a direct to garment printer or has sublimation capability, they're also a screen printer, that could take your business away. That's where we're today, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. And when you said don't make fun of me for this, I didn't really know what to do, because our whole entire relationship for the nearly 20 years, something like that, some crazy amount of time that we've been doing this together is based on me and you making fun of each other. So.
That's true. Yeah. I was making fun of myself by saying that.
All right, cool. I appreciate that. So yeah, Christine had mentioned that you need a Swami hat and a crystal ball. So yes,
just like Johnny Carson.
Yeah,
I just dated myself again.
All right, good stuff. And Yep, Jesse agrees. It will continue to complement garment decorating businesses. So good stuff there. So Terry, Cindy kind of mentions. I was just going to say, try printing 600 plus on a direct to garment. That is a little tough. But what separates digital from screen printing? Then there's certainly a lot of things that happen with there. When somebody comes to you and says, hey, why should I go DTG? I'm a screen printer. I could do all this stuff. So give us that rundown, would you?
Well, and Cindy's exactly correct. It's all about production speed because, realistically, unless you're investing, hundreds of thousands of dollars into a DTG printer, you're going to get, a color shirt, anything with a white underbase, you're going to get maybe 25 pieces an hour. Of course, depending on the image size, but white shirts you're going to do better with. You're going to do 50 to 60 pieces an hour, but it's going to be a longer production time. But with as I mentioned before, the bread and butter of that screen printer is going to be 1, 2, and 3 color work. But and here's the other thing that separates direct to garment and sublimation from screen printing. You're never going to be able to do puffs and suedes and gels and metallics and all those cool things that you could do as a screen printer on a direct to garment printer. It's just not going to be the way that you would accomplish that. Yeah. So, you also, a lot of folks think that direct to garment printing isn't going to have the washability of a screen print. And that's partly true in that plastisol ink, which most screen printers still use, is PVC, it's plastic. So, our buddy Wade, was a screen printer many years up in Seattle, would always say, 1,000 years from now in the landfill, that T-shirt will have disintegrated, but that print will still be laying there on the ground. But with direct to garment printing, as long as you have pre-treated the shirt properly, and as long as you cured it properly, you're going to get 50 plus washings. And in our industry, 50 plus washings is considered a permanent print. And so what you have to really compare with, though, is water-based screen printing and direct-to-garment printing, because direct-to-garment is also water-based. And they're going to have the same type of washability. But, another thing to compare is setup time and teardown time in screen printing. And I preach about this, that's what separates one screen printer from the next is their efficiency. But lower quantities, it's just not practical for a screen printer to set up 6 screens to do a full color image when you can take that same file and start printing immediately. So that's there's definitely a cutoff point. And people say, well, at what point do I go to screen printing? And that's a tough call, because I know direct-to-garment printers who have one machine who will take an order for 1,000 shirts. Now, I would never do that, because you're talking about you're still printing 2 weeks from Tuesday, but that maybe they don't have the capability to do screen printing. And here's the other thing that you have to take into account. Yes, you can do a full color image with direct-to-garment printing, and a photographic image. You can do that in screen printing too, but there aren't very many screen printers who can do it. Now, even if they wanted to, it's 1,000 pieces. They're going to be jobbing it out, because that is definitely another level of screen printing that is. It's certainly not out of the grasp of most screen printers, but they just don't choose to do it.
Yeah. So. Interesting. Okay. All right. That certainly makes a lot of sense. And like I said, there's not I love that, everybody wants, I think all of us want, what's that magic bullet, Terry? If you just tell me that it's 72 pieces, beyond that, I should screen print, then I can make sense of that. But all these variables that you've got to think about, it is really important. And honestly, it's going to work for some and it's not going to work for others. You have to make decisions based on what your business is and what you're good at. But it really, really important stuff that you shared with us there. In fact, Todd said that in the 10 minutes that I talked to Terry in Denver about DTG, he made it all make sense to me. The man is a genius. So there you go.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah. And glitter. I like glitter.
Glitter. Todd's a brave man. In Denver, it was about 30 degrees when I was on my way to breakfast, and I ran into Todd and his group in the restaurant, and he was in shorts and flip flops. So he's a better man than me.
Yeah,
I was all bundled up.
He's a better man than most of us, Terry. So we're good.
Right.
All right. Well, so Terry, let's. Yes. Where's your Swami hat? Where's your crystal ball?
Yeah.
You got it. You're set. You're ready to go. What's the future relationship here then between direct to garment and screen printing?
Well, for the last few years, and we'll certainly be seeing it next week at Printing United, but you these combo units where they're an automatic press. It's screen printing a white underbase. It's coming over, and it's got a large format inkjet head printing the image, but it's on, yes, it's on an automatic press, but it's running so slowly that you could probably do the same thing on a manual press. They're more like prototypes, I think.
Yeah.
They're saying, okay, here's where we're going with this.
Gotcha.
But it's like when the first cars came out. Yeah, they work, but you got to be a mechanic, and you got
yeah, totally.
But it will allow, though, for after that print's done, to add the gels, add the puffs, add the glitter, those types of things as well. But I don't think it's there yet. All
right. Well, so I actually have a question then for you, Terry. So the thing I'm not involved in that on a daily basis as you are. So the one question I've always had about, this kind of prototype hybrid thing. So does that take away the pre-treat need, or how does that work then?
Well, if they are doing the white underbase with a screen printing water base ink, it would take away the need to do pre-treating, because the purpose of pre-treating is to give a base of basically salt water for the white ink to sit on top of. But screen printing water base ink is will stay up on top of the shirt. So it would alleviate that, but gosh, I think this would still only be effective for longer runs, because there's going to be that screen printing setup involved in it, and add to that is your ink cost. With the DTG printer, you're looking at, on average, a white shirt about 50 cents, a color shirt about $2 in ink cost, depending on the image size. I mean, if it's a huge image, it could be $4 or $5 in ink cost per shirt. Whereas a screen printer, every print's going to be pennies. So, the ink costs are going to have to come down for that to be effective, because on these longer run orders, you're not getting $20 a shirt like a short run order, and that's the standard price here and across the industry. Is a DTG printed shirt sells for about $20 and up, and the highest I've seen is $40. But in a really narrow niche market, if somebody's ordering 1,000 shirts, they're not going to want to pay. They're going to want to pay screen printing prices, and screen printing prices. You're not going to be competitive with DTG, even with. And somebody says, said, how about so many 100 machines or 100 garments? Well, what people are doing that are only direct to garment printers, they are buying multiple machines. I know 2 companies that have 8 printers. There are companies that have 250 DTG printers out there. So, but they're not doing 1,000 pieces. They're doing 1,000 1, and 2, and 3 piece orders. So that's the difference. But Aaron, and the world's changing too, though, because we know folks who in the industry who have automatic presses who say that my customer doesn't want to order 10,000 pieces anymore. My customer wants to order 100 pieces every week, so that the inventory is put back on me as the decorator, as opposed to them having a warehouse full of garments that they will or won't sell. So the industry for screen printing is changing as well. And I think there are going to be a lot of folks who are going to be going more towards manual printing and or at least having a portion of their production operation be manual for these customers that only want 100 of this and 100 of that.
Yeah. No, I think you're exactly right with all of that, and it is interesting to see, like you said, that whole 8 printers or this production, because yes, they are not doing 1,000, 10,000 of the exact same thing.
Right.
Every shirt is different, and that's what's really happening in my world, in the sublimation world. It's people are like, oh, what's the price if I do 1,000 of these versus one of these? And it's like, same price. It doesn't change anything for me. It can all be different. I don't care. As long as I got artwork to print that's different, then it doesn't really matter. And that's, but I think that becomes, like you said, these people are expecting this screen printed price for things, and it's your job to educate them on the process, on, okay, yes, if you're going to do 10,000 of the same thing, we can create some efficiencies within our production process as a screen printer. But if you're going to do, 1,000 of the same thing, and I've got a direct to garment printer, you don't really create any efficiencies there. So there's no cost savings, and there's no cost savings to be able to pass along. And so it is about education there. So,
I have, I'm going to look into my crystal ball and tell you something else in thinking about this. I think that new decorators who are doing screen printing, and they're also doing direct to garment printing or maybe sublimation, I think that when they get an order for a full color photographic representation, that they're just automatically going to go to the direct to garment printer, which means I think that the pool of master printers, and I call a master printer somebody that can do that photographic image on a dark t-shirt, the Lon Winners of the world. I think that pool's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller, because I think that that decorators are going to be lazy and not take the time and the hours and hours and hours of effort to learn how to do those types of images. So that for that master printer out there, that means I think there's going to be more and more business for that decorator. The decorator that chooses to be an expert screen printer, I think that the pool's going to get smaller, which means more business for the folks that actually learn how to do this.
Yeah. That's a really great point, Terry. Put in the hours. I'm actually in the middle of reading a book called "So Good They Can't Ignore You" by Cal Newport, and it really, obviously it's not what we're talking about here, but the point being, you just focus and get so good at your niche, at your area, that you build up this career capital, business capital that you can then go exchange for. It reminds me of the young lady that we talked to about bling, and for some reason I just lost her name too. Todd will help me in just a second. Kelly DeFries.
Right.
And she got so good at what she did and created the tools and focused on the glues and just really put in all the effort and the work to get so good that people couldn't ignore her. And now she's getting more money than she ever dreamed of charging. She's getting more, she's turning away work because she is the best at her craft, And so, like I said, if you're a screen printer out there and you're wondering, where am I going to be? Well, decide what you want to do. Do you want to become the best at this? Well, go do it, learn it.
Yeah, Aaron, another example is when we had Pierre Jimnicki on our show, and asked the question, how did you become an award-winning screen printer in only 3 years? And he goes, well, it was really easy. I just worked 100 hours a week. And that was
easy.
And that stuck with me. And I thought, that's how you become an expert. You put in the time, you put in the effort, and there are always rewards for that.
Yeah, for sure. So, Terry, got a question in here from one of the regulars. Cindy said, and not really a question, but I want you to address this because I think some of this is from the old days, from back in the old days when I was creating problems in the direct-to-garment world. So just talk to the point of some talk about this for small shops, but if you're not using regularly, you're having problems with clogging, lots more to maintain. So that's changed, right?
To a certain extent it has.
Okay.
And that's an excellent question, Cindy. Here's the thing about direct-to-garment printing. There are two types of direct-to-garment printers. Some of them are manufactured using component parts from desktop paper printers.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that you're going to have clogging issues with. And all the machines, when Aaron and I used to sell T-Jets, those were converted over paper printers. And so you had to print every day. You had to leave it running all the time. If you left it for 3 days, you had to flush out all the ink. There are other machines today that are manufactured from the ground up as direct-to-garment printers, which means the print head is made to work with a direct-to-garment ink system. So those machines you can turn off for 2 weeks, come back and turn back on and start printing again. And here's an example. Equipment Zone has a showroom down here in Tempe. Well, I only go there if I have a demo, and so the 5 people that work there, we all have home offices also. Last Christmas, nobody walked in that office for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And came in after 3 weeks, turned on the Epson F2100, and did a head cleaning and started printing shirts again. And that's in Phoenix, where we had 10% humidity. Yeah. And needless to say, our humidifier had run out of water a week into that 3 weeks. So.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Oh man, somebody's job might have been on the line there, but glad it worked out. Well, good. I just wanted to address that because I know a lot of things have changed and that's important. So, honestly, to me, I look at it and go, if they're willing to warranty the print head, they kind of feel like that's gone away. So
exactly right.
So
Epson and Brother both have warranties on the print heads. So
yeah, good.
Keep that in mind. Yeah.
Okay. And when we're talking about being so good they can't ignore you, or that kind of like be the master craftsman there. Eric mentioned this, and Eric actually to me also is a perfect example of this. Lots of us are 10-year overnight successes, right? But think about when you and I first met Eric, Terry. The joke was that he was chained to the desk digitizing, and
right,
and that's what he was doing 24/7. Well, he was doing that 24/7. It was a fun joke, and we had a good time with it, but it was also the truth. And now when people want to know about digitizing, there's not too many other people I can think of that you want to turn to. And so
exactly.
He put in the work. He became a master craftsman there, and there we are. So
exactly.
All right. Well, did we cover that well enough? We're gonna be able to wrap it up here, you think?
Well, the regulators will have to tell us, but I think we touched on all the high points.
I think we did too. Great stuff. Thank you for sharing that information, Terry. It definitely, I learned something today myself, so I love it.
Right.
So Eric says I didn't even stop for the interviews sometimes. So
I remember he would be on the show,
hours.
and we'd ask him while we were talking to him, "Are you digitizing right now?"
Yeah,
and he'd be, "Yeah."
Yeah. And that was before we did the video, so
right.
He was able to do that, and we're like, wait a second, we hear the keyboard in the background, Eric. What's going on? Kidding. All right. Well, speaking of Eric, I do want you guys to go check out his latest article on what we were just talking about, digitizing pixel embroidery. It's out in Printwear Magazine, and Eric will get us the details on where to check that out. But just go over to Printwear Magazine, and digitizing pixel embroidery would be the article to check out there. Terry, what about you? What do you got coming up here?
Well, I will be at Printing United, formerly SGIA, in Dallas next week. So stop by the Equipment Zone booth to say hello. It's in the 5,000 aisle, I believe. We're right across from a huge Epson booth, so you can't miss us. We're doing seminars for 10 to 15 minutes on the hour, every hour. And it's not just the folks from Equipment Zone. We're going to have Sanmar there. We're going to have lots of Dane Clement's going to be doing a seminar every day. Lots of folks from the industry. We're going to have guest speakers there. So come and check that out, and then we'll have the schedule posted there in the booth. Next, I'm going to leave Nashville I'm going to leave where am I going? I'm going to leave Dallas.
Get the big book of travels out, Terry.
Terry's big book of travels. I'm going to leave Dallas on Friday after the show and go to Nashville to do a class with Atlas Screen Supply for my complete screen printing business course. That class is actually sold out. I'm going to be the following week. I'm going to be in Phoenix at Workhorse Products, November 2nd and 3rd, doing that class. I'm going to wrap up the year in Chicago doing the Atlas class there. That's going to be November 16th and 17th. And all my upcoming 2020 events you can find at terrycombs.com and click on tour dates.
All right, outstanding. So just a quick side note, did you ever hear, have they worked out the acronym for Printing United yet? Or is it still
everybody's calling it PU, man?
Yeah, still causing some consternation. All right, well,
I'll see you at PU.
Yeah, I said that to somebody yesterday, and they said, yeah, they're like, what is that? That's a whole different story. All right, well, I have got my Small Business Saturdays. We're going to do it tomorrow at 7 a.m. Topic yet to be determined. So regulators, you have any suggestions for topics? I'm all ears. I've got a couple that I'm batting around that I can talk about, but nothing set in stone yet. So that'll be 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. So I've got plenty of time to figure that out, right?
Heck yeah.
So over at my Facebook page, facebook.com/aaronmontgomery.info for Small Business Saturdays. Love doing that, and excited to, like I said, whatever you guys want to talk about, it becomes more of a discussion, so we're all learning, me included. So it's been fantastic. Still got the webinar coming up. I haven't chickened out on it yet. So no, just kidding. Becoming a digital marketing superhero is the title of that. And that's going to be happening November 11th, 2019. And great to, Todd says he's available. So it may be Aaron and Todd talking. So coffee talk. I like it. Maybe that's, we did say we were going to do it monthly, and I think it's been over a month since I had him over there. So changing real quick there. But anyhow, my webinar, aaronmontgomery.info/marketing is where to go sign up for that. Through the end of the month here, you will get a $25 discount on that program. I'm limiting it to only 50 people, so we can have lots of good Q&A. Plus, I want to do some one-on-one stuff after the class with folks that have signed up. So use the code regulators for that. That will get you that $25 off that webinar. And then not me necessarily, but we've got some other great stuff coming up here. Eric Campbell is going to be presenting that's easy for me to say, demystifying digitizing. It's also a tongue twister, so I like that. March 28th, 2020. So more details will be coming on that soon. Eric, I will be touching base with you soon. I've got kind of a plan laid out for us to make that happen. Marshall Atkinson, who I think he had to bail out, but was joining us in the comments here today. He's got his 6 Steps to Kill Your Production Downtime e-learning course available right now for an introductory price of only $497.50. And in talking to him over there at ISS Fort Worth, the amount of money that you can save yourself to kill that production downtime will pay for this course very quickly. So definitely check that out. And then our good friend, Dane Clement, who you mentioned is going to be in your booth with you there at PU, is doing doing an art in separations for screen printed apparel through the SGIA group, and that's happening December 2nd through the 3rd. So we'll get that posted up in the links as well.
Aaron, let me throw something else in for Dane also.
Sure.
Just last week, he came out with his book on preparing artwork for direct-to-garment printing. And so that's available for, I believe, $99, and it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not laughing about that. I'm laughing about some of the comments too. Yes, that we got to talk to Dane at the Fort Worth show, and that made the cut. We talked to a lot of people at Fort Worth show. So like we said there in Fort Worth, Terry, that show was the amount of stuff that we captured. You can go watch all the videos, but the actual podcast version, we had 2 shows at least. So the second half, I think what we'll do with that, you can agree or disagree right now, but I think we'll be okay. The second half of that we'll just play. It'll just show up as the show for the Thanksgiving show that we normally skip.
Oh, very good.
So yeah. we won't be doing anything live that week, but I will go ahead and post that show that Friday after Thanksgiving, the second half of the Fort Worth interviews that we did. So the first half is already out, and you can go check that out, and hopefully you've already listened to that. So good stuff there. All right, man, lots of great comments happening, though. I was chuckling along the way. And again, if you go to euquid.com, Todd has hooked me up on that one there. So thanks, Todd. And E-Rich is presenting midgets. Sounds like a good show. Oh boy. All right, we're going to get way off the minutes here, Terry. So we should probably wrap this up. So come to the close of another show. Get out there and vote. I will get the nomination form fixed. So we have 10 categories now, including the best Facebook group section. So give me about 30 minutes and that will be updated, but go ahead and start placing your nominations. And thank you very much, Terry. That was really good information today on the future of screen printing. I really appreciate you sharing that with us here today.
Awesome. It's fun to think about and talk about. So, and hey, make sure everyone share the voting information on all your social media so we can get a really great cross section of folks out there who, maybe some folks that we don't know that can be nominated and possibly win these awards. So sure. We also want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell. You can find him at ericcampbell.com. And thanks to our sponsors, Impressions Expo and Ace Transfer. Absolutely. And next week, Terry is going to be at PU Printing United. I'm going to get in trouble for doing that. So it will, Terry will be gone and doing his thing there in Dallas. So it's going to be myself speaking with Kayla Gayton, who's going to be joining us to discuss marketing versus branding. And really excited to get her on the show. She's been in the Women in the Industry podcast before and is an up and coming star, really, in my mind, in our industry. So I can't wait to get her take on marketing and branding. Her and I will be geeking out over this subject. So it should be a lot of fun. So tune in for that on the 25th of October. Very good. Kayla's the marketing director, if anyone doesn't know, for Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago. You. So, but until then, Aaron, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery. And we are the Two Regular Guys. Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.